In 1953, Arthur Miller wrote a dramatic play entitled The Crucible. The Crucible is a story of a farmer named John Proctor, who stands up against the Salem witch trials and their accusations. But what really happened in the late 1600s, and what were the people like that witnessed these events? Earlier today, I sat down with some unlikely people, and those people might just be able to give us those answers. Alright, well, I'm going to start off with introductions. If you could please address the camera and introduce yourself.
I'm John Proctor.
To the camera, please.
To the what?
The camera, Mr. Hale.
I have no idea what you're saying. What is that, French?
The thing right there with the shiny metal circle pointing at you.
Is it some kind of weapon?
No, it can't hurt you. I would try to explain what it is, but it would take far too long, and I'm afraid your brain would melt or something if I tried.
So it is a weapon?
My name is John Proctor. And what is your name?
No, Mr. Proctor, it can't talk back to you.
I'm not even sure what this device is, but I'm Reverend John Hale of Beverly. My name is Giles Corey. How do I know when I'm done?
My name is Reverend Samuel Parris. How much would you be willing to sell me that for? It's not for sale? Your loss.
Okay, so before this interview, I had you read a play entitled The Crucible. This is obviously a dramatization of events that you actually witnessed, so please, give us some insight on the real John Proctor.
Well, it all started when I was born. I was born in Ipswich, Massachusetts in 1632.
I was talking more about relating to the Salem witch trials, actually.
Ah, yes. It all started when I was about 60 years old. 60.
Wait, 60? You don't look 60.
Thank you. By the time of the trials, I was the prime target of accusation.
So what happened when you were finally arrested?
Well, 32 of the residents in my town signed a petition on my behalf and on Elizabeth's behalf. See, she was also under the suspicion of witchcraft.
And what was the final verdict?
The court sentenced me to be hanged on Gallows Hill on August 19th, 1692.
Oh, well, from seeing you sitting here, it looks like everything turned out okay.
It didn't. I'm dead.
Huh.
Oh.
Alright, Mr. Corey, before this interview, I had you read The Crucible, which exaggerates the events of your own life.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Ever since I saw my wife reading them strange books, I swore against them.
No books at all, then?
No books. For all I know, you could be trying to get me arrested for reading such books.
Mr. Corey, you are aware that the trials took place over 300 years ago? No one would even try to make that accusation anymore.
That's what they want you to think?
Alright, well, on with the interview, I guess. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, during the Salem witch trials, I was about 80 years old.
Yeah, no, you look about 16 years old.
I use a lot of lotion.
Go on.
As I was saying, in my old age, I had married twice before I met Martha. She was arrested for witchcraft in 1692, and I was accused later that year for performing witchcraft. There was a warrant out for my arrest.
And you were arrested on these charges, correct?
Hardly. I refused to give up the names of any witnesses or people that were also witches.
And what was the result of that?
I was pressed to death. Big, heavy stones were pressed on my chest until I broke and I died. I'm actually most famously remembered for my famous last words. More weight, as I would not give up any names.
Oh. So, you're dead?
Correct.
But you're still talking?
Yes, you're correct again.
So they weren't your last words? Before this interview, Reverend Parris, I had you read a play entitled The Crucible. It dramatizes the events of your own life and the Salem witch trials, which I am to believe you are a big part of. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself during the time of these trials?
Well, when the Salem witch trials began, I was about 40 years old.
Of course you were. Go on.
You see, I've always liked to think of myself as a man of the people. There was a new world order rising in Salem, and people didn't like that things were different. So naturally, I tried to guide them in the right direction, but they seem more willing to trust the word of outsiders, like John Proctor.
So I'm to believe you are a fairly devoted advocate for the Salem witch trials.
Why would I not be? The church was under siege by the devil and his wicked followers.
I also have here that you played a fairly large part in picking the people who were tried on the charges of witchcraft.
That is correct.
So, for all we know, you could have picked anyone to be tried on these charges, maybe someone you didn't like.
Technically. But with my position as a legal witness in the court and my influence in Salem, I had to have complete control over the people that I decided to choose.
People like outsiders?
Well, I suppose.
People like John Proctor?
Like I said, the trials got unruly and people I chose were completely out of my control.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said. Reverend John Hale, hopefully the last dead person I will talk to today. Or ever, preferably. So I had you read The Crucible before this. It obviously dramatizes the events of the Salem witch trials. Could you please give us some insight on what you were like during the time of these trials?
Well, I was 56 in 1692. What, you don't think I would have been 56? Do I look too young?
I've witnessed weirder things today, Reverend. If you could just keep this going, that'd be great.
All right. In 1692, I was an established member of the church, and I was sent by the minister to go investigate witchcraft that might have been going on. These girls suspected of witchcraft.
You are aware, however, that was all pretense.
Yeah, I am. After my second wife was accused, I stopped following Parris. He was way out of it. He was accusing people of witchcraft who were innocent.
Did you do anything specifically influential that really showed them that what they were doing was absurd?
Funny you should mention that. I wrote a book.
Oh, what was it called?
My book was called The Modest Inquiry into the Nature of Witchcraft. Basically, it refutes any legal and any biblical reasoning that the court may have for crying witch.
You must have been really happy with the success of that book. I'm sure of it.
Nope. It was actually published after I died. Thanks for reminding me.
You know what, Reverend? It's been a long day. You're the fourth dead person I've interviewed, none of which appear to be their actual ages. I'm beginning to question my own mental state, and I don't believe that any of this was in the job description when I signed up to work here. Alright? Yeah. I quit.